My name is Shirazee, and I've been selling property since I was, 20. I'm working with the team at Whitefox Real Estate over in Perth and having a great time with that crew. So, I want to say 2 years I've been using RESO. I didn't see myself selling property without it, to be honest, in most cases, because I think in most cases it actually adds a benefit to the buyer and the seller. As soon as we pretty much launch live online, the link becomes available to everyone that inquires on the property, allows them to navigate themselves to RESO and then download all the key documents in relation to the property. Once they have seen all the documents and the information, they have to acknowledge it. There's a record of all of those documents being supplied to that purchaser prior to them engaging with the property. So if someone wants to make an offer, they can make it online, Saturday night, glass of wine in hand if they want to. Myself and my team can instantly go in and see what that offer is, who's it from, all their contact details, everything we need to know about the offer. I think it's really important to note that RESO doesn't replace us or doesn't take the job away from us. It's just another tool to enhance the experience for the purchaser and obviously assist us in getting to the real conversations much faster. If you've got structure, RESO will work really well for you and it will reward you better rapport with purchasers because they know there's a structure that you're sticking to. They're not just me going through the grinder and getting spat out the other end, not knowing which way was up or down. The buyers have the ability to log back in whenever they want and basically amend their offer. Rather than doing best and final and hoping for the best or throwing a dart on the dartboard, they get to move up through the range, see where the rankings are, and ultimately they get to draw the line in the sand as to where they feel the maximum value is, because we do let them know it's not about being number one, because sometimes our sellers pick offer number 2 or number 3 because their conditions are stronger. So we treat it more like a guiding light in regards to where their offer stands or sits in the ladder, and they can make the decision as to where they draw that line. Just through the RESO platform, they're probably getting about 3 to 4 pieces of communication from us on top of the phone calls and obviously the normal stuff that we would normally do. From a buyer's experience, it's definitely changed it. So previously what I used to do was similar to a lot of agents where they would say, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a multiple offer scenario. The price is from $1 million. We've got offers above that. You just need to give us your best and final offer and wishing you the best of luck. And buyers would often say, well, where do I need to be? What's the other offers? Can you tell me where I need to put it in? And naturally, we're in a position where we couldn't, because if we told them where to be and they missed it, they would blame us. If we told them where another offer was, we'd have to start, an underhanded auction. So it just really limited what we could do with those buyers and how we could work with them. And then buyers just found themselves in frustration because they'd literally be throwing a dart at a dartboard, and hoping they didn't miss it by $5,000 and they didn't overpay by $100,000 either. And the amount of times I had, or even buyers recently in our market in Perth, because it's so hot, they said if we knew it was going to sell for that, we would have given them $10,000, $20,000 more, but we didn't know. We had no way of knowing, so therefore we kind of didn't want to just go too high for the sake of it and be the sucker that paid too much. So buyers now, when I explain the process to them, I'd say 95% of buyers go, oh, that's actually a really logical and easy process to understand. They appreciate the transparency. Something else I'll do is I'll give a rolling price guide verbally to the buyers as we go. So if I'm saying, hey, the buyer feedback's currently in the mid 7s as an example, and they put an offer in at say 700,000 to test me and they're ranked in 5th position, well, they know again that I'm telling the truth. And therefore, when I am having conversations with them, it's not there's a lot more trust behind it. By the time we finish our sale, if I have to call them for something, whatever I'm saying to them, generally speaking, they'll trust in what I'm saying. I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying it. The other part I found is that it's allowed me to go from, instead of the old school hardcore negotiator where I'm screwing buyers down for every cent that they have, I've instead moved to more of a nurturer role where I'm talking to buyers, guiding through the process, making sure they've absorbed all the information. Do they want to come back through for a second inspection? Helping them with their rankings, those kinds of things. So sometimes I'll have a buyer move their offer 10 times on the platform. And the key thing is, and what I say to all my sellers, I never actually ask any of my buyers to increase their offer. And I think that is key. Whereas other agents are, putting pressure on, trying to push them higher and pushing. When we've got multiple offers on the table, I'm not actually having to ask them to move their offers. They do that all by themselves. I just simply come in, I keep the communications up with them. I have meaningful discussions with them and just guide them through the process. And they come out of it happy, knowing that they had control of their price and they knew where they stood. So if they were third and that was their maximum, well, they drew the line there knowing there was someone above them, but at least it was their decision to make. And if they miss it, they missed it on their terms. And if they get it, they got it on their terms as well, knowing they didn't overpay because someone was probably nipping at their heels during the process. So yeah, that's ultimately, I think, to sum that question up, sometimes the biggest thank yous I get are from the buyers that missed out on the property, which sounds counterintuitive, but ultimately sometimes I go, hey, look, Jeremy, we missed the property. We're obviously devastated, but we actually really appreciate the process, the transparency, how kind you were, how helpful you were throughout the process. And obviously the person that gets the property, they're even more relieved to kind of say, yes, I got it, but we don't tend to find ourselves in the whole buyer remorse thing because they knew that someone else was just behind them. And if they did buy it, they were buying it. So they don't feel like they were had in the process.